Right, Alice Springs hitting 46 degrees while Melbourne S struggling to crack 18. That's a 28-degree difference across one country, and it's about to get even more interesting over the next 72 hours. Is your area about to cop a severe weather outbreak, or are you in line for some relief? Because right now, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe thunderstorm warnings current for parts of New South Wales, Queensland and the Northern Territory, affecting over 6 million Australians. By the 8-minute mark, I'll show you exactly which model is predicting the most intense activity for your region, and trust me, the differences are significant. But first, chuck your location in the comments right now, city or state, doesn't matter, because I am reading every single one, and tomorrow's forecast will include personalised updates based on what you're asking for. Let's get straight into the timing for the major centres. Sydney, you are looking at storms developing late this afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock. Heaviest activity tonight through to about 2 in the morning, then clearing Saturday. Melbourne, your system arrives later, Saturday morning around 9, persisting through the afternoon before easing Saturday evening. Brisbane and the Gold Coast, you've got activity firing up right now, actually continuing through tonight, then a brief break tomorrow before another round Saturday evening. Perth, you are in a completely different pattern, hot and dry, 41 degrees today, 43 tomorrow, no relief until Monday is change. Adelaide, you're on the cusp, storms possible Saturday afternoon, about 50-50 chance at this stage. Hobart, you are missing most of this, staying relatively calm, low 20s, bit of drizzle Sunday. Darwin, you're in your typical build-up pattern, afternoon storms each day, nothing severe, just that usual wet season activity. Now, here is what makes this setup particularly interesting. We've got a low-pressure trough extending from the Gulf of Carpentaria right down through inland Queensland and into northern New South Wales. At the same time, there's moisture streaming in from the Coral Sea, and when you combine that with daytime heating, you've got the perfect recipe for severe thunderstorm development. The question isn't whether we'll see storms, it's how severe they'll get and exactly where the most intense cells set up. For you lot in regional New South Wales, Newcastle, you are looking at storm activity from about 6 this evening, risk of large hail and damaging winds. Wollongong, similar timing, maybe an hour later. Coffs Harbour, you are already seeing some activity. This continues through tonight. Wagga Wagga and Dubbo, you are in an interesting spot because the models are showing conflicting signals about whether the main activity stays coastal or pushes further inland. Currently, Access is keeping the severe stuff east of the ranges, but the European model brings it right across your area. We'll know more from tonight S runs. Victoria, let's break this down properly. Melbourne, I mentioned Saturday morning, but Geelong, Ballarat and Bendigo, you're looking at slightly earlier timing, probably around 7 or 8 in the morning. Shepparton, you might miss the worst of it entirely, depending on how quickly this system moves through. The pressure gradient behind this front is impressive. We are talking about a 20 hectopascal drop in 6 hours, which means the winds will really pick up Saturday afternoon across the state. Queensland, this is where things get complicated. Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, you've got embedded storms within a broader area of rain, so it's not just one event. It has multiple pulses over the next 48 hours. Townsville and Cairns, you're in your normal wet season pattern, nothing unusual for this time of year. Afternoon build-ups, heavy at times, then clearing overnight. Toowoomba, you are right on the edge of the main activity. Could go either way, but I reckon you'll see at least some storm activity Saturday morning. There's one thing about this system that got me watching closely. The wind shear profile is showing really strong rotation potential, particularly over southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. We re-looking at Cape values, that convective available potential energy, pushing above 2,000 joules per kilogram in some areas. To put that in perspective, anything above 1,500 is considered conducive for severe storms. When you combine that with the low-level moisture we're re-seeing, there is a genuine risk of supercells developing this afternoon and evening. Western Australia, you're in a completely different weather pattern. Perth, Bunbury, Geraldton, you're all locked into this persistent high-pressure system, bringing hot easterly winds. Kalgoorlie, you're pushing 45 degrees today, 46 tomorrow. Broome, you're seeing typical December weather, hot and humid, afternoon storms building off the coast but not much making it inland. The Fremantle Doctor isn't providing much relief this week either, which makes those feels like temperatures particularly brutal. Perth, you're hitting hitting 43 degrees with low humidity, but it still feels oppressive because there's no overnight recovery. Minimum temperatures staying above 24 degrees. South Australia, Mount Gambier, you are getting clipped by that frontal system Saturday afternoon. Decent rain likely, 15 to 30 millimetres. Whyalla and Port Augusta, URE more marginal, maybe 10 to 20 mils if you're very lucky, but the timing is less certain. Adelaide, I mentioned that 50-50 chance earlier, and here's why. Access R is showing the front weakening as it crosses the bight, which would mean less storm activity for Adelaide proper. But the global models keep it stronger, which would bring those storms right over the city's Saturday arvo. This is exactly the type of scenario where tomorrow S update will be crucial. Tasmania, Launceston and Devonport, you're looking at pretty typical December weather. Low 20s, partly cloudy, maybe a shower or two Sunday. Hobart, you mentioned earlier, low 20s, bit of drizzle Sunday, nothing dramatic. You are actually in the best spot weather-wise across the whole country right now. Northern Territory, Darwin, you are at 33 degrees, feels like 42 with the humidity. Typical build-up conditions. Those afternoon storms will continue every day, heavy at times, but this is normal for this time of year. Alice Springs, that 46 degrees I mentioned at the start, no relief coming. 45 tomorrow, 44 Sunday. Catherine, you are similar to Darwin. Hot and humid afternoon storms, nothing severe expected. Now, about 3 minutes in, perfect time to remind you, if you haven't dropped your location in the comments yet, do it now. I am genuinely reading these and using them to shape tomorrow's forecast. Someone yesterday asked about Dubbo. Another person wanted specifics for Cairns. I made sure both got detailed coverage today. Your input directly influences what I focus on. Let me show you the model disagreement I mentioned earlier, because this is significant for planning your weekend. The Access model, that S, our Australian model, shows the main storm band affecting coastal areas from about Coffs Harbour down to Wollongong, then pushing offshore by Saturday afternoon, peak intensity Friday night. The European model, ECMWF, shows a similar track but keeps the activity going about 6 hours longer and brings it further inland, which would affect places like Tamworth, Armidale, even Orange. The GFS, that S, the American model, sits somewhere in between. This 100-kilometre difference and 6-hour timing variation changes everything for your weekend plans. Here is what I am watching tonight S model runs for. First, does that low pressure system deepen as much as some models suggest? If it does, we're re-looking at more widespread severe weather. Second, how far inland does the moisture penetrate? That determines whether places like Dubbo, Wagga Wagga and Griffith see significant rain or just stay hot and dry. Third, the timing of the southerly change across Victoria. Early Saturday morning versus late Saturday morning makes a huge difference for outdoor plans. The fire danger situation needs addressing because this is critical. Western Australia, UV got total fire bans across multiple districts today and tomorrow. Perth Hills, southwest, central west. With those temperatures, low humidity and gusty easterlies, the fire danger rating is sitting at severe to extreme. If you're in these areas, absolutely no fires, no machinery that could spark. This is serious stuff. South Australia, similar story. Fire danger ratings elevated across agricultural areas. New South Wales and Queensland, interestingly, despite the storm activity, there is still high fire danger ahead of the change in western areas where it is hot and dry. Let's talk rainfall totals, because there's a fair bit of variation depending on where you are. Sydney, you are looking at 20 to 40 millimetres, heaviest on the northern suburbs and beaches. Melbourne, 15 to 30 mils, fairly evenly spread. Brisbane, this is where it gets interesting. Southern suburbs could see 50 to 80 millimetres over the next 48 hours. Northern suburbs more like 30 to 50. Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, similar to Brisbane's southern suburbs, decent totals. Regional Queensland, Toowoomba, 20 to 40. Bundaberg, 30 to 60 if you catch the right cells. Now, here is the thing with these storm forecasts. I keep saying check back tomorrow, and there's a good reason for that. Severe thunderstorm forecasting is arguably the most difficult aspect of meteorology. We can see the broad pattern. We know the ingredients are there, but pinpointing exactly where the most intense cells develop, that is incredibly challenging, even 12 hours out. The overnight model runs will ingest new observations, new satellite data, new radar data, and that gives us much better precision. So, yeah, Tomorrow morning, S forecast will be significantly more detailed for your specific location. Canberra, I should mention you specifically, you are in that marginal zone where you could see some storm activity Saturday, but it depends entirely on that timing I mentioned. If the system moves through quickly, you will just get some rain and wind. If it slows down, you could see embedded thunderstorms Saturday afternoon. The wind situation deserves attention too. Sydney, those northeasterlies ahead of the storms could gust to 60 or 70 kilometres per hour, then swinging southerly behind the change. Similar speeds initially, then easing Sunday. Melbourne, the real wind event is Saturday afternoon and evening. Westerlies gusting to 80 k's an hour, maybe 90 in exposed areas. That S strong enough to bring down tree branches, especially with wet soil from the rain. Adelaide, if you get those storms, damaging wind gusts are possible, 60 to 80 kilometres per hour. Perth, hot gusty easterlies today and tomorrow, 40 to 60 k's. Then that Monday change, bringing strong southwesterlies for coastal areas, New South Wales and Queensland particularly. We're re-looking at hazardous surf conditions developing. Swell building Friday night, Saturday morning, 2 to 3 metres, bigger on the sets. Strong rips, definitely not ideal beach weather. Coastal erosion possible in the usual spots. Sydney S northern beaches, Central Coast, this affects you. Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, same deal. About 12 minutes in now, last chance to drop your location in the comments if you want specific coverage tomorrow. I've seen a few people asking about inland areas. Happy to focus on those tomorrow. Someone asked about Christmas Island weather. I can definitely include the territories if they're S interest. The heat health aspect can be ignored. Western Australia, South Australia, inland New South Wales and Queensland, we re-talking about dangerous heat conditions. If you in these areas, please take this seriously. Drink plenty of water, avoid outdoor activity during the hottest part of the day, check on elderly neighbours, bring pets inside during peak heat. These temperatures are life-threatening for vulnerable people. Perth hitting 43 degrees, that S genuinely dangerous, especially when minimum temperatures aren't dropping below 24. Your body needs that overnight recovery. Looking ahead to Sunday and early next week, there's tentative signs of another system developing for the southeast, but it is too early to be specific. Could bring another round of showers and storms for Victoria, Tasmania, maybe South Australia, Tuesday or Wednesday timeframe. Western Australia, your pattern finally breaks down Monday with that change I mentioned, temperatures dropping to the low 30s in Perth, which will feel amazing after these past few days. Queensland and northern New South Wales, the models are hinting at a potential coastal trough development mid next week, but again, too early for details. The interesting thing about this broader weather pattern is the influence of the Madden-Julian oscillation pushing into our region. Without getting too technical, it's basically enhancing convective activity across northern Australia, which is part of why we're seeing such vigorous storm development. This also suggests the active pattern could persist for another week or two, particularly across Queensland and the Northern Territory. For agricultural areas, this rain is a mixed blessing. Parts of inland New South Wales and Queensland desperately need it after months of dry conditions, but the timing isn't ideal for harvest activities. Wheat and barley crops across northern New South Wales and southern Queensland could see some quality issues if they cop heavy rain before harvest wraps up. On the flip side, summer crop planting across these regions will benefit enormously from decent soil moisture. One location I haven't mentioned much is Norfolk Island, and if you are there, you're re-looking at fairly typical summer conditions, mid-20s, partly cloudy, isolated showers possible, nothing significant. Same for Lord Howe Island, pleasant conditions, light winds, perfect, really. The overnight temperatures are worth noting because they not providing much relief in many areas. Brisbane staying above 24 degrees minimum, humid and uncomfortable for sleeping. Darwin, minimum of 26, feels like 35 with humidity. Perth, I mentioned 24, but inland areas like Kalgoorlie only dropping to 28. That's brutal. Melbourne and Sydney will see better overnight relief after the change, dropping to about 17 or 18. So here, where we're at. Next 6 to 12 hours, storm development across eastern Australia, some severe, most activity tonight. Saturday, system pushes through the southeast. Strong winds, good rainfall for some areas. Sunday, clearing for most of the east, still hot out west, but relief coming Monday. The models are still showing some disagreement on exact timing and intensity, particularly for inland areas, which is why tomorrow S update will be so valuable once we've got tonight S runs. If I had to pick one thing to watch most closely, it is that severe storm potential this afternoon and evening across southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. The atmospheric setup is genuinely conducive for significant storms. Large hail, damaging winds, heavy rainfall, all possible. The BOM will update warnings as needed, so keep checking their site if you are in these areas. Look, I know weather forecasting isn't perfect, and there's still uncertainty in parts of this forecast. That S, just the nature of atmospheric science. But the broad pattern is clear, the ingredients are in place, and we can give you good guidance for planning. Tomorrow morning I'll have much better detail, particularly for timing, rainfall amounts, and which areas face the highest storm risk. Quick recap then. Eastern Australia, storms today and tomorrow, some severe good rainfall. Western Australia, dangerous heat continuing, relief Monday. Fire danger critical in multiple states, total fire bans in effect. Check back tomorrow morning because overnight model runs will significantly improve the forecast precision, especially for Saturday ES timing. I genuinely want to know where you are, what you are planning, what you need from tomorrow as forecast. Comments are open. Use them. I read everything. Really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning with that updated